Hey guys, Shanna Hubbard, Razor Edge Productions, Small Town Dirt, another episode. We are here with John Willard and Thaddeus Hambrick. John is a 4-cylinder racer. I've talked about him before. I refer to you as Dirt Track Santa Claus. Yeah, you all about the kids. I love it, love it, love it. And then Thaddeus, you're what, second year in?
Yep.
B-Mod class. Now you race all over for the most part, locally.
Yep.
Lucas and
Go up to Butler sometimes, Warrensburg quite often, Urbana.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And you're from up north.
Yeah,
North from here, I would say. Same deal. You run all over the place. Right now, you're running the I-49 series.
right.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about some things that I've done this before, but we're going to do it again.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about some things that people don't want to talk about, but we are going to talk about it. Sportsmanlike conduct in the racing community. Now, the reason for this is things that came into fruition the past few weeks. Actually, it's been about, 4 weeks now, hasn't it?
Yep.
It's been about 4 weeks. I've noticed with social media, it's kind of been glorified. I find it distasteful, it's my opinion. I've got two different generations here. I kind of want to chit-chat about this from two different outlets. You've been racing for a long time. We had a sit-down interview with you
Yeah.
this past winter. I don't even remember what month it was, but
With mine was good.
right, when the pie was good. And you've been racing a long time. You got kids that are racing. You got a grandson that's racing. So you've kind of been in the forefront of the generational and seeing that type of thing. You are the younger generation, so you're seeing all this stuff happening, still fairly new in racing. And I believe that a racing community itself, I think if we were to come together a little bit better and work together a little bit better, it might get easier for the next generation to come in and actually be inspired to do so.
Right.
So let's go ahead and talk about it. Okay. Taking each other out, wrecking each other, fighting in the pits, fighting on social media, bashing each other on social media, calling each other out, bullying each other. That's the kind of thing that is not going to go over well with the younger generation. You and I previously spoke about this. As far as that goes, now, what does that tell you?
That it'll shy somebody away from.
Would it shy
Yeah.
you away from that? Seeing the fighting and stuff like that?
Well, I wouldn't say it shy me away from it, but it would definitely shy probably some other people that haven't raced and that are wanting to race from it. Because I mean, if I had never raced and I was just getting into it, I definitely wouldn't want to put myself in an environment like that.
Right. Now, you, sir, how do you handle this kind of stuff?
I try to ignore it as much as possible.
Yeah. Does it discourage you as well, though, on the racing aspect?
Yeah, it does, because I go to race. And I show up at the track and I want to have a good time because it's what I do. And then you got some motor mouth or somebody with sore fingers from keyboarding it all week. And they make shit up.
Right.
And you can't fight a lie with anything, because once you counter the lie, then there's a deeper depth to the lie that, well, because blah blah. So I just don't say much.
Yeah, because
Right.
one lie comes out, another one follows.
It's a
Right.
snowball
For sure.
effect.
Yep.
Well, my concern is for these kids that are up in the stands that are seeing these fist fights over, somebody tapped you or somebody wrecked into you or somebody got loose and wrecked into you. And then next thing you know, there's a huge crowd surrounding these drivers and they're fighting, but it's not like back in the day. Back in the day, it was, okay, we're going to get it on and then it's over. Now we're going to yell and scream, we might throw a couple punches, but then we're going to get on social media right after.
Right.
And we're going to get on social media and we're going to
throwing a grenade.
Try every which way to get underneath that person's skin. So it becomes to the point of almost devious because they talk way beyond. It's not like it was.
But it's not only the driver, the wives are getting involved with it too. So that makes it even worse. Because now if you try to argue with the wife, you're arguing with somebody that don't even know anything.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yes, they're familiar with racing, but they got no clue what the fight's about.
Right.
And there is no reason to be fighting. If it's a racing accident, it's a racing accident. If somebody goes out there to deliberately take you out, and it's obvious, well then it's up to the track. And a lot of tracks don't do a lot about it. The black flag seems to be the flag that doesn't get brought out. They see it, they know it's coming, and they can't do anything until it happens. So
I wonder if that comes down to the root of, the concern of whether they're going to have the crowd and the cars. If they, just like that, okay, there was a Facebook post, and I pulled it up and I showed you guys, and we talked about the passion of the race fans, and if the race fans lose that passion, then the sport's going to die. That's what this fellow was talking about.
Right.
Okay, so with that in turn, do you think that it would be one of those situations that the track, they're not wanting to black flag, or they're not wanting to, go, well, you got to go, because they're afraid they're going to take their people with them, and they're not going to have what they should have.
That's not what the black flag means.
Okay.
The black flag means you're being black flagged now.
Right.
It doesn't have any future response to it unless you make an issue out of being black flagged because you did something wrong.
Okay.
This past week I did something wrong. I got DQ'd for it. But it was an accident on my fault, and I didn't mean to do it.
But it happened.
But yes, and it happened. And I apologize for doing it to an official that didn't want to talk to me about it because he was still mad that it happened. But he manned up, he let me apologize to him, and we now see a better eye-to-eye deal. Because we didn't have to fight about it, we just had to talk about it. And that black flag, didn't matter. I mean,
Right.
It was like, okay, I knew I did something wrong, I got black flag, I was put to the back of the feature. Okay, I accept that, it was my fault. So, you're not losing the racer, you're not losing the fans, because the fans don't know unless you get on and get that keyboard worried and everything goes, A few weeks back I was DQ'd for a body part that wasn't on my car. I didn't say anything. It took people 3 weeks to figure out what was going on. And then all of a sudden they had to have a post because they had to explain it. I don't have to explain it. I didn't cry about it. So why are people crying about it? Why did he?
It didn't have nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with you.
Right.
Okay.
So that's, and that's not a big deal. The car was protested. I accepted it because, yes, I was taking a chance. It was okayed by the track to run it, but if somebody protested it, then I didn't know I'd be DQ'd for it. I figured I'd be told to fix it. But they DQ'd me, so,
Now,
but
have you ever lost your cool in the pits?
No, because one thing that I do, if I have something happen on the racetrack and it upsets me or pokes me the wrong way or however, I'll sit in my car, take my helmet off, cool off while I'm inside my car. That window net will not come down until I feel that I can shake someone's hand and talk it out and make amends.
Okay, I like that outlook.
Yeah.
I do.
You
I
do
think
have
that's
to cool
great.
off.
Right,
I
I
will
think-
agree with that.
I think
You have to
that's
cool off.
great. I think that outlook right there is fantastic. I think if a lot of other drivers would do the same.
I wouldn't take the helmet off in the car because they might be coming after you.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're a sitting duck for a hell of a punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've been just seeing it glorified on social media so much that I find it bothersome. Because there are kids on social media too now. And like I said, this is not like it was back in the day.
Right. Back in the day, there was no kid under 16 allowed in the pits.
Right,
And now, you gotta watch for the toddler running across the road.
right,
I mean, and it's your fault. If you hit one of them, it's not the parent's fault for not watching the kid. It's your fault because you're driving. And that makes it kind of tough sometimes.
right,
You
right.
know, there are a lot of kids in the pits.
So there are, and you know, I can see that from two different ways there. You know, you got the kids in the pits because you know it inspires the kids and they get around the cars. But then I also see the danger aspect of it
But what
because you get one of those disgruntled drivers, they get really upset and they decide they're going to barrel through the pits. Well, they ain't really paying attention to what the hell's going on around them. They're paying attention to what the hell just happened on the track, why I'm mad and I'm steamed up and I'm just ready to hit something or somebody.
Well, it doesn't have to be an incident on the
Right.
track.
It doesn't.
It's just normal driving through the pits. These kids are there and they're wild. I mean,
We got the generation of wild ones.
when you've got somebody working on their car and all their buddies are there helping, nobody's watching the kid.
Right,
It's supposed to be in the trailer, but it's over there.
right.
You know, well, all the moms are talking and they lost track. It's easy to do. I ain't blaming nobody.
Right,
What I'm saying is, back when my dad raced, you had to be 16 to be in the pit. My mom didn't like racing, but she had to take me so I could go to the stands because I liked going. I helped Dad work on his car. I didn't do anything, but I helped. And so that kind of rolled over, and then they got special insurance, so the track can't be liable, which they are. But
oh yeah.
yeah, and the drivers are getting younger and younger. I mean,
We got a young one right here.
he ain't young.
Well, he's
He's an
younger.
old guy.
He's younger. Well, you're about middle age for driving now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you wanted to start driving when you were like 12. Did you go down in the pits a lot, or were you just up in the stands?
Well, when I was 12 and that was the first year that I had never missed a race. I went to Lucas Oil Speedway and Dallas County Speedway every weekend. Never missed one because I was really getting into it, watching it. And then the more and more I was around it, I don't know, it was something about these cars that just, I couldn't wrap my head around exactly what it was, but I had to get in one. And so when I was 12, I got my first car, and I knew I couldn't race till I was 14. So I just did everything I could, traded, and every day there was always something I was doing.
Well, when you were in the stands and such, did you see any altercations or unsportsmanlike conduct or anything like that? When did you start seeing that kind of stuff?
When I started racing.
When you started racing?
Because I never was in the pits a whole lot because I didn't really know anybody. I didn't have any family members who raced or anything. So when I'd go to the pits, it would just be to take pictures, look at the cars, and kind of, just be there.
Right.
And it was kind of walk in, go around one time, and then go back to the stands. So once I actually started racing, it was probably last year is whenever I first started to experience that side of it.
So how do you fellas here, we've got you and you both are very active in what you do in the racing community. How do you think we can resolve this as far as the fighting and the yelling and the screaming and the fit throwings and the social media posts and all this other stuff? How do you think the racing community can kind of resolve this issue? I mean, we were talking about at one point in time just having some boxing gloves and being like, here you go, just solve it there. But that won't happen.
That won't work.
No, it won't work.
No.
So do you think that the racing community itself is strong enough to handle something like this and be able to go, you know what? We can talk it over. We don't have to get on social media. We don't have to throw fists and push and shove and yell and scream. And we don't have to personally message people and threaten them. Like, we can resolve this, like grown people. We can resolve this,
You could, but it would take a lot of track owner, promoter effort. And I think that they try so hard to keep their car count up and that they don't want anything that could cost them a car. So they don't want to be involved in the incident. But,
I think consistency is key.
right, if you set the rules, follow the rules.
Exactly.
Now, if you go to his pit, you're in the wrong. Now, if you're going over to apologize for the wreck and he's a hothead and he comes at you, now that rule doesn't apply because you're not going over there to fight. You're going over there to apologize for the incident.
Right.
Because there are a lot of incidents that happen that are just racing incidents.
Yeah.
And
That nobody's picking on you, bro. It's just one of those situations that we were just rubbing. That's all.
well, or I'm trying so hard to overdrive myself and then I bump somebody. And then it is your fault.
Right.
But you're trying to admit it to him, but he thinks you just went in there and drove and just bashed him.
Right.
Well, that's not. You can tell inside the car if that's what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, he overdrove it. Why? Because he didn't lift. Maybe he was trying to take you,
Right.
but there's a little spot of doubt in there.
Mm-hmm.
But
There was one track that was brought to my attention about the rules of conduct, and I found it to be very well stated. And they used a point system, and that's CMS. And I guess at CMS, I guess they allot you a certain amount of points, and if you rack up those points, you're gone. And if you fight, you're gone. You already got those. I guess it's like 15 points altogether. And I almost think that if tracks would take that kind of thing into consideration, then maybe it would cut down on a lot of it.
okay, and which sounds good. But now you got one guy that's buddies with the track owner, and he's causing the shit. Is he getting less points than the guy that is just a traveler through or show up every now and then, where he's going to get more points than the guy?
So that just goes into the whole aspect of favoritism, right?
Right. It's all fair.
So, and that is not something that I see as being just a make-up type of thing, favoritism.
Right.
I've seen it, people have seen it, I've witnessed it myself. I've heard drivers talk about it and been like, hey, this was the situation and this has happened, so it was clear call of this. And this person was favored and this person, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But I don't know how it can be resolved as far as that goes. Lucas Oil themselves, I see that facility running smoothly. This is my perspective. This is what I've seen. I haven't been to Lucas a lot, but what I've seen is it runs smoothly. I've heard other things, people getting in confrontations and stuff like that, but they don't go into each other's pits. They don't. So obviously there's those guidelines there. If you do this, you're gone. CMS running their points as far as conduct. I think that is a great thing because that keeps things stable. And at least you know the guidelines of, okay, if I go in this guy's pit and I kick his ass, I'm gone.
Yeah.
If I get on social media and I say something about another driver, about an incident, to the point where it's like, that was too far, bro, that was too much, then I'm going to have some points put on me.
Yep.
And I could be barred from this track. I could be, hey, you got to go. And I don't know. I don't know. I just really wish, I think my whole rainbows and sunshine, I really wish that the drivers and the racing community themselves would just come together and be like, you know what? We're eventually going to get old and not going to be able to do this. So we need to pave the way for these younger generation drivers to be able to go into this sport and be happy about it, be able to conduct themselves correctly, whether it be on social media or in person. Like you were talking, you're sitting there cooling down. I mean, that there, a lot of young drivers wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
They would get out, yelling, screaming, banging on things.
Yep, start punching on their car or throwing little temper tantrums and
Throwing their helmets in front of the
yeah,
trailer.
Yeah, throwing their helmets, and I think that if people could just grow up a little bit and kind of just realize it's dirt racing.
Right.
It's dirt track racing.
You're supposed to have fun in this.
And you're gonna tear up cars. There's gonna be wrecks and if you were worried about getting in a wreck, then you shouldn't be in a car.
But
and then I can add on to that a little bit because if it's intentional, completely intentional, or somebody that just has no control of their car and they just completely wiped you out, that's different. That is different. But if you're racing really hard, for second or for the lead, and you guys kind of just get into it a little bit, because you're racing really hard, and there's your laps are counting down,
Right.
and that happens. And I think
Robin's
that,
racing.
yeah, I think that if drivers could just get out of their cars and cool off for a minute and meet up maybe in the tech barn or wherever that they meet up at, just shake hands, talk it over. This happened. If we get back up front and we race like that again, I'll make sure that I don't make this mistake again, or
Vice versa. Right.
There's a lot of ways to do it.
And I agree with that if you're gonna have an argument, have it in a tech barn with the officials.
Yeah.
Then if everybody wants to come around, all they gotta do is slam the door shut.
Right.
So,
Right.
And
then it's done.
Yeah.
Then it's done.
Right.
Now, I know as far as people like, sometimes it goes a little far. Personal messaging, and you were talking about wives, it could be relatives, it could be anybody. It's to the borderline of bullying,
Yeah.
which,
For tempting.
or tempting. Now, in a different generation, there was no, we frown upon bullying. It was like, okay, you show them what's up, then they'll quit bullying you. You can't do that no more. Just can't. So, with these people overstepping those bounds, and I don't know how exactly. I've handled stuff my way. You handle your stuff your way. You handle stuff your way. Is there advice that you can tell people that if you're getting bullied, pushed, pushed, and personal message?
Yeah, that's too far, I believe. And I think what happens at the racetrack should stay at the racetrack, because social media is one thing that will take dirt racing and just make it look bad. Social media, it can be a bad thing for the sport of dirt racing, and I think that people should just stay off social media unless they have something good to say, or to congratulate somebody, or to show that they did good this night. I think that's the only reason any post should be made on social media.
The positive aspect.
Yeah, positive aspect, because any negativity on social media is going to be the most viewed.
Right.
Because
And that is very true. There was an incident that occurred where two cars got into each other. It was within 2 days, I think it was, and it had over 20,000 people that watched that little bit of video of these two cars get into it. And also, that happened to be the time where that particular place had a huge crowd. So when they got into it, and then there was a whole blow up, and it kind of reverts back down to what we were speaking about before, about how people love the carnage. They love it. They love the carnage.
But the huge crowd gives you more aspects and different views.
Right.
And two people sitting side by side will have a different view of the same crowd.
Yeah.
People sitting on the other end of the track is going to have another complete deal, and it's like, hell, they didn't even touch.
Yeah.
And down here they did, because they couldn't see.
Right.
But what they saw didn't happen.
It comes down to the drivers. It comes down to the drivers.
Right. And when they get on social media and start bashing, they're not bashing the driver. They're bashing the track because the track didn't do anything about it. Well, the track doesn't have a policy on what to do about it. So no, they're not going to do anything about it.
Well, and that is another aspect of, you got the passion of racing, you got the cost of racing, you've got the travel, all that good stuff roll into one. So get out on the track, okay, somebody gets into you a little too hard, and you just spent your last $5, you're gonna get pissed off.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could. But was it your fault or their fault?
Right. Now, low budget racing. A lot
Shoot,
of us
you got
are.
more money in the motor than I got in my whole car.
Well, I
We'll talk
mean,
low budget.
I would say that facilitates a little bit as far as the hot tempers is the cost.
Yeah.
Actually,
Tempers will flare over
half the cylinder's twice the problem. You know, that's the 4-cylinder deal.
Half a cylinder talks the drama. Well, what about like B-mods?
Well, B-mods, they're pretty expensive cars, and so if, you know, you could make the littlest mistake and tear up $1,000 worth of stuff.
Right.
And like if two people get into it on the racetrack and somebody tears up because of this person, then it's definitely going to lead to at least a talk in the pits, if not
More.
more. Yeah.
Well, and that kind of goes back to, I think it was 2022. It was my husband's second race at Electric City Speedway. And he was battling with another driver for 4th place. They wheel hopped. He turned sideways, and he ended up on the infield tire. Okay, this is second race of the season. Beautiful body, beautiful wrap. Car was just awesome. Afterwards, it looked like a tin can got squished. The
Now it's
whole
ready to
nose, the whole sides, you know, the bird cage was even twisted. Like all sorts of stuff was messing up. Second race in.
Did he win the third one?
You know what? I don't think he did.
Well, because usually once you get the first scratch on them, now it's time to go.
Right,
Now
right.
you go-
It's all
You're conservative, why it's pretty.
right.
Yeah.
But I remember him with the mixture of, well, I just spent that money. Okay, we're at the beginning of the season. This just happened, and with it all in the combination, he was fired up. He was mad. But one thing he did not do is leave his pit. He stayed in his pit. Yeah, he yelled, screamed, and, you know, let it out. Then after it was done, it was done. You know, it was one of those things that even afterwards too, he felt bad about getting so worked up about it. Because we've discussed this before. It could be a hobby, or it could be a passion, or a lifestyle. He had to keep that in mind, that this is something I try to do for fun. This is what I try to do to, you know, get where I want to go in racing. But the cost aspect kind of reared its ugly head as well. So,
It rears its head in the 4-cylinder class too, because they started allowing racing wheels, bead-locks, race tires. I mean, you're talking $1,000 to put a set of wheels and tires on the car.
on 4 cylinders.
On a 4-cylinder. Yeah. The bead-lock's still $200, whether it's a 13 or a 15.8.
Yeah.
You know, the race tire's still $170 because there's so, with 4-cylinders, when you change the tire size, you change the gear.
Yeah.
You don't go in and change the gear, you change the tire size. So now you've got 5 sets of different size tires at $350 a set.
It adds up real quick.
But you can also run DOTs for cheap. But if you put a set of DOTs on modified, it is going to be the last place car out there because it will not hook up as well as the race tires. People don't understand that. You know, the guy.
So this whole aspect of losing your shit, okay, sportsmanlike conduct. You could be the bigger person and you can try to not flare up, but more than likely, if you put every bit you could into your race car, it's gonna happen.
If they're antagonizing on the internet or sending you personal messages telling you you're going to get your shit trashed by the next guy coming out, and you're sitting there and then something happens, well, you're going to lose your shit quick.
Right.
Because you've already been told it's going to happen. Nobody believes you if you say it. Once they put it in print, screenshot that shit, send it right straight to the track. And then they don't use a black flag when they get around you, or, you know.
Well, and that just brings it up as far as how the track would handle it.
They don't. Afraid of car count loss.
Tracks, I mean,
It goes hand in hand. Tracks need drivers, drivers need tracks.
Yeah.
Right.
So if one of us fails, the other one's gonna fail.
without one, the other can't.
Right.
You know?
So initially we would need, like I said, with this point system with CMS, I thought it was a great idea for tracks to take on because it would show consistency, you know, like, hey, these are the boundaries, these are the rules. If you're in our pit, on our track, you get out of your car, you start fighting, you're in the pit, you start duking it out in the pit, you gotta go. You know, that's it, done.
Yeah, that should
Get
be
into a
me.
track where the official said, you're out of here. They go right around, talk to the track owner. Oh no, I'll fix it. Don't worry about it. See you next week. Yep, into that track. So,
And with that just causes even, like you were talking, a snowball effect.
right, check guy comes in, disqualifies one of the guys. Doesn't matter. Still gets his money.
It's
Track
outrageous.
owner says it's okay.
Yeah.
So, you can't blame it all on the drivers if the tracks aren't gonna stand their ground. Now, I've heard of some of the others that they don't make a damn who you are. If you screw up, you're out here. And that's local. You know, and I thought that was one of the better things he's ever done. But now you know.
Right.
You know when you go to that track and you pull the same stupid shit that this guy did that was helping the track. No bank. A damn bit of difference. You're out of here.
Right.
You know, you come back next year.
Yeah.
I mean, would you feel better if the track had a consistency like that?
Yes. I think that they need to really buckle down and
You
put their
know,
foots down. They
And
need to,
keep 'em down.
Yeah, they need to. Don't lift it. Like,
the black flag is your warning.
yeah.
The continued act is your demise. You know, because if he black flags you and you're off the track, you're just done for that race.
That is
You're not done for the next one.
If they're letting this person get by with this just because of who he is, and then this other person does the exact same thing, and he's
Out of there.
gone, done. I think that everybody should be treated equally, and if you're wrong, you're wrong, and you should be held accountable for it.
Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah,
But also,
I mean, you throw a punch, you're gone. You throw a punch, you're gone.
yeah.
You know, you deliberately, plain as day, because
I've
the
only
media coverage now, geez, you're going to see everything.
Yeah.
and I've only seen it at one track where it actually happened.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's different. And I decided to race.
It was refreshing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think
Makes
even though that fear factor there of them thinking that they're going to lose a car count because they put their foot down, that might actually be the total opposite. They might
Yeah.
gain
cars.
cars.
Now that
Because
has
they put their
happened.
foot down.
That has
'Cause
happened.
I
It was a track
Would
up
go?
north.
yeah, I'd race there.
It was a track up north where this guy, no, you're not coming back. It was a very bad thing he was doing. I won't mention it because
Right,
it goes back to the kids at the track.
Mhm.
right,
Yeah.
He's that type of guy.
okay.
And he's got his arm around one in the inner circle.
And they said toodaloo. And you
They
said,
put
I'm
in-
racing
They
there.
put in a playground to keep him out. Because they didn't want that at their track.
Right.
Gained 7 cars.
I'll
In the
say
class.
you put your foot down.
You know, if you have consistency, you'll get more car count because a lot of people won't build a car if it's gonna be a demolition derby.
Mhm. Yeah. Because I mean, they don't go to tear their stuff up; they go to race hard, and
Right.
Put a show on. Because
Right.
that's,
If you
that's what
race-
this is all about.
Right.
This is a good show for fans to come and watch.
There's nothing better than 2 cars side by side going
Nothing.
around a track for 2 or
There-
3 laps.
Nothing will put you on the edge of your seat.
Somebody's
more than
gonna
that.
buckle.
I don't even know how we even combat one aspect, and that is what we just mentioned before, it was cost. Because here's the thing, we can talk about this kind of stuff, and this can be great and dandy, and we can go and, you know, go about our nosy way, and next thing you know, oh, American Racer came up, this part came up, we got $50 higher, $50 higher, to the point where it's squeezing us.
Well, I got it. You know, this comes back to,
I think here's a good resolve for this. Just hear me out here. Drivers, how they, you know, we help each other out and stuff like that. We exchange parts. There needs to be more of that, and maybe that will cut down.
well, yeah, you
'Cause-
can get cheaper tires from a guy that changes them every race.
Right.
Because That's what he does. He has a tire sponsor.
And that sets a rapport as well.
Right. But you get a guy in the middle of the pack, and now he's got a better set of tires than he could afford before for cheap. Yeah, he's getting more competition up front. He ain't gonna get that tire sponsor, but he's still gonna keep buying him one race tires.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's gonna keep edging up, and then those people that are in the fast are gonna have somebody to compete
And
with.
then somebody will pick him up as a sponsor and buy him some tires.
Yeah.
He might not get a whole season worth of every time he races, but he's already used to the ones that aren't great.
Right.
And he made his way up there. Then when he is great, he's going to get his win. Then he'll gradually cut back and fight for second, third, fourth place
Right.
until he gets another set of tires, and then he's going for the win.
Yep.
Well, I think that might be a good way to combat the whole, you know, bullying, what our subject is about, is if we work together on different aspects as well, because you can make friends.
Yeah, because
If you're like, hey, I need a part, and you're like, hey, I got you, I'll sell this to you for cheap.
right.
You used to not have to be a friend.
Right.
You just had to be broke.
Well, and
And
it
if
still
I will
is that
seek you
way.
out and give you the parts, what do you need? I got
Right.
some shit in my trailer, you know, let's get you back on the track.
Yeah.
Want the cars.
Right.
That's
It's
the
still
way
that
it
way. It still
That's the
is
way
that
it
way.
used to be.
Yeah.
And now
Um,
it's all about, no, I don't want what you're talking about.
It is that way. I would say on the lesser end than it used to be, but there's still people out there that are like that. There is.
There are guys that will send their crew over to rebuild your car. If you
Yeah.
break it.
That's true.
You've witnessed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had people do that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they want you out there.
Yeah, and it's like they see something in you, they know that you have that drive, that you're one of the very few that, you know, still have that drive for the sport, and they'll do anything they can to help.
Right.
So
and,
there's-
if you owe them some money, you get it to them.
Yeah, and they don't say a word about it.
Right.
They-
And then when you give it to them, they're like,
Oh, I
oh,
forgot.
wow.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right,
I wasn't
I'll
worried
bring you
about
park my trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe if we didn't pay attention to, maybe if we didn't glorify, as a racing movie, we didn't glorify or gossip or, you know, prop these actions that are, you know, in a negative way, prop them up. Maybe if we just kind of put them to the wayside and carried on and came together a little stronger. I mean,
Wow.
rainbows and unicorns, let's go, you know? Let's make it happy-go-lucky, let's do
Like,
it.
when I go to Tennessee, I carry parts with me,
Uh-huh.
and I have the locals come to me and go, hey man, you got this with you? I know you got parts. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And I'll leave Tennessee without a dime in my pocket for that part, and I don't give a shit because they respect me when I go back, and they won't drive me like an idiot.
Yep.
They respect the fact that I don't drive them bad, and they're gonna drive me good, you know? So, but if I need something,
Yep.
boom, here, try these tires. Ooh, try these tires. I'm gonna wear tires out, go around that dry slick track. Nah, it's all right. I got to get you out of the top side of them. It's just, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Get back to them.
Well, the main reason I wanted you guys, because I know you're about the kids, you're about the kids.
Oh, yeah.
This is why I call him the racetrack Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
I
the kids,
do.
there's the future of this sport.
They
If
really
we
are.
can't make them, you know, give them a reason to want to do this, then it's going to die out.
But I take a lot of bicycles to the track and give them away. It's up to the promoter of the track to let all them kids know in town somebody's getting a bicycle free. So they're begging their mom and dad to go to the track. That's bringing more fans in the stands.
Yes.
And I would rather spend my winnings on bicycles than upgrading the car that I got so much money in. I buy the Facebook post. I mean, you know. But
You just had to. You had to.
I mean,
you had to.
I know. But I mean, it's like I think Nevada's got a next week. Is it about 27?
They had a bike race this yesterday.
Right, but next week is carb night down there.
Okay, and they're like backpacks, I think.
Okay, but there's two bikes. Have you heard about them yet? No. Nobody's advertising them.
Oh, well,
I already bought them. They're already in carb.
surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a boys and a girls bike.
Well, I know they had the bike race yesterday. Then they have that one race that I had spoken about on Facebook Live, where they had, his name was Jimmy, and he raced some other race car drivers one lap around the track. I ended up getting too tired. I didn't stick around, but it looked like it was a good time. It was a good kind of situation.
He's a really good guy. I mean, he's just got a heart. You know, he's different, but nobody cares.
Everybody's different. I'm different.
Yeah.
Are you different?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we all different.
Right.
So,
But I'll bet you that meant more to him than anything.
oh yeah, he was super stoked about it. I
Yeah.
talked to him in the pits. I
Yeah.
said, "Are you ready to get out there and kick some ass?" And he says, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." I mean, full chest out, confident, chin up. I'm going to do it.
I try to
Like,
be
heck
at,
yeah, if we could just all have that mindset.
Yeah.
I try to be at the tracks when I'm giving away bikes, but I don't want any part of it. I want to stand back, you know, to watch them faces when they're making kids
Yeah.
all
Watch them smiles.
running.
Yeah.
They got 3 friends with them, and
Yep.
they're fucking
Full
yeah, I
sprint.
got a bike
Yeah.
out, yeah,
Yeah, 'cause-
you know, and they're just happy as hell.
Happy as they could be. I mean, and that's what will make me smile. Seeing them happy like that, it's like, yeah, you know, it's a good feeling.
I got some more bikes to buy this year. So, I mean, I know,
And this is why he's got that nickname.
Yep.
He's
So-
got that nickname.
but I try to give away to it at the car companies, you know, and I have for a couple of years. I found a deal on some down in Arkansas last year, man, they got some killer bikes last year.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, BMX, 5-speed, twin,
Yeah.
blah, you know, I mean, when I took him in the car, even the little girl said, I want that one.
Yeah.
And she was there to met her ticket in when that came up.
Yeah.
And
You
see,
know?
there's stuff like that too that just helps in general. It helps the track. It helps the racing community. It helps, everybody.
Well, they have bike races at the racetrack, right? They want to buy. They got some little half stickers like that that go on their bikes.
I didn't know that. He puts his stickers on the
I
bikes.
take off
That's
the
pretty
Murray
cool.
sticker off the front and I put my half number on the front.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great.
And I got them.
They're part of your race team now.
Right.
Oh my God. you
But
can't
when they
imagine
have
how
a
many
bicycle
you
race, now they have a
That's
bicycle 2 race.
got. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
the one person, and I don't know this little kid's name, but the first bike I gave away was for winning 10 in a row at Humboldt in 2017. And this little kid, I mean, he was just the greatest. I was his buddy for life. I've been trying to ask people on social media and nobody will answer me.
Well, maybe it'll happen on YouTube because when I did put up your interview, I did put a picture of that. I know the young
You
man
know
you're
what
talking
I'm talking
about.
about?
Yes, I put a picture of you and that young man as the cover.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody out there will see it.
If this is what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to upgrade that bike. He'll be, I think he was like 5 or 6, so he's not going to be 12, 13 years old. But I want to upgrade the bike to a new one for him. And I'll even go to Humboldt and race one night to go to it.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
I'll have to see if I can push it out there even more.
yeah,
Um,
I can't remember his name.
It's okay. It's okay. You've been giving out a lot of bikes. I mean, it's just been a lot. So, well, I think it's about time to go ahead and give my shout real quick. And just an FYI, guys, real quick before Joe gets to the camera, H Street Graphics is where we are at. I want to give a shout out, gratitude for letting us use this facility. Don't you dare turn off that. And allowing us to be here. Come get your car wrapped, signs, banners, whatever you need. He is located here in Fort Scott, Kansas. Phone number is 620-687-6200. We appreciate it, Joe. Thank you. And I don't know if it'll be a week or 2. We'll just have to see. I appreciate you coming through. You too.
Yep.
And these two, they've traveled a decent amount to get here, so hopefully we've made some sort of impact,
Yeah.
and maybe somebody will pick up on what we were dropping, and something will change and help
Yeah.
us,
I
this
think
whole
it will.
sportsmanlike conduct issue that seems to be happening.
Well, what we've done is we put it out there to where now there's people that are gonna have to do their job. If they want to create something to eliminate it from their track.
Right,
And that would be the goal. Eliminate it from my track so you don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah.
So you can
bullshit
just
when
go
you
and have
come.
fun.
Right.
You know, or even with that, maybe somebody will come up with some sort of resolve to help with the price of parts that maybe will help people's temperaments a
Yeah.
little bit, and they're not so distraught and heartbroken about it. We'll have rules and regulations that are set, and people will put their foot down and say, no, this isn't right at my facility. It will not happen again.
Yep.
You know,
And
and
keep
that
that foot down.
right, and keep their foot down, and that'll be it. You know, and not look into the whole, well, he said, she said,
Right.
also as much. We'll be able just to go to the sources and figure it out and get it situated and squash some of this damn drama.
Yeah, that's all it is.
And just
It's
kind of, you know,
And it can be handled, I mean,
right.
very easily.
And then, you know, maybe encourage the next generation of kids to be like, you know, this looks like it's fun. This is fun.
Yeah.
This is something I want to get into.
Because I mean, it
It'll
really
help.
is. It's a big family. It really
Right.
is.
Right.
And there's so much good in this sport. I mean,
So, well, maybe, I don't know. We'll see you later, guys.